the jungle, right? The tankier jungles out there. We can still be expecting Dr. Mundo in. Oh, they are actually going for Rakan. A beefier jungle. Dr. Mundo is a decent pick. I was thinking of Olaf, but Olaf is a little bit more reckless than Dr. Mundo per se.
I would actually prefer or not Dr. Mundo rather, but
Olaf.
Actually Olaf wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay.
Just because if you see the lineup right now for Impunity, there's no real wall.
Right.
And by that I mean there's no Cataclysm, and there's a lot of lockdown for their utility, and there's a lot of displacement as well. If the Vi goes in for Assault and Battery, it's just going to be able to flung out the the junglers and
Just
whatnot,
single
and
1%
Olaf
out.
can just bypass all of that with his
There we
ultimate.
go.
So there it is. That's a lot of actually good answer for sequence, and Olaf is a better jungler than what they had with the Wukong. At least with how they used it in the previous round. And Olaf is just a behemoth, and he can always make something happen if he can just get the camps that he needs to. And he's a really fast clearer, especially with his undertow always refreshing. That's going to be a really nice pick to kind of even things out here for Sequence.
Really looking forward to see how Sequence is going to play this out. The overall lineup that we have for Team Sequence is going to be Akali, Orianna, Corki, Rakan, as well as Olaf. So it does seem like what they're working out with is just ganks and ganks, a little bit of a poking potential from the side of Orianna. They'll be focusing quite a bit from Corki's early to mid-game presence, inhibiting the growth of Vi. Rakan can go for a very...
Or tweet at.
Yeah. You can tweet
Oh,
it.
look! Swirl has got...
A little bit of skateboarding action.
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry. Okay, I'm good now. Let us take a look. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 between Team Sequence versus Team Impunity. What's going to be happening here is that we're going to be looking at Akali fighting against Camille in the top Baron lane. We've got middle lane with Diana versus Orianna, and at the bottom lane with Corki alone fighting against Braum as well as Kaiser, because Rakan is just going to be moving about a lot between the jungle, the bottom, and the middle. So that is something that we should be expecting. The grand entrance coming from JW immediately jumps onto Raph as well as the Kaiser almost getting themselves a little bit of a kill here and there. The Void Seeker seeks out fake AD. The Wind's Bite also landed on the Corki, almost getting that kill with just a sliver of health remaining. My oh my, this guy have escaped death twice within 1 minute.
But that's a big thing, because even if he didn't die, I mean, you still get the advantage, because you force the opponent to go back because he's critically low. And you can immediately see, look at this, Impunity, they're rushing to reset the wave. And by that I mean, when you're playing a lane, minions aren't just there to give you, or minions aren't just there to push the wave for you. They're also resources for your opponent. And because there's no deny mechanic in League of Legends, to compare to other MOBAs where you can deny the creeps or the minions, what you do here is you force the wave straight up into the turret, it crashes, and the turret, because it can clear up these waves, bounces it back. So there is some point where your opponent will miss a couple of these minions, and in turn, miss XP and crucial gold. And because of that, you can see already, I think if we can pop out the items here, Scarlet Petal should have slightly better items than Sequence's fake AD, and he should be able to bully this out with the items that he came back with, at least for Scarlet Petal.
Leroy versus Ares at the top lane. It does seem like things are in pretty much of a stalemate, but I would believe that Camille most definitely will have a pretty good run against this Akali. But we'll see how that's going to be. The grand entrance coming from JW as the battle dance coming in from him, just going to be getting himself away from all of that in the meantime. Olaf, unfortunately, was not able to do quite much despite being so aggressive. Corki and Rakan, they don't really have much choice to work with, especially since I think the grand entrance was their setup, and Olaf needed some time to get himself right into the opponent's faces.
Yeah, it was very difficult for him to just kind of, interpret all of that. There's too much to kind of deal with. In any case, I am kind of enjoying this 1v1 with Leroy and Ares into the top side. Just kind of fun. See out. Also, if I do say so, Diana should have the one-up against a Orianna, just because you're much more powerful, I think. The dueling capabilities of Diana does overwhelm the mage nature of an Orianna, where you try to stay in the back, but Diana can just keep reaching you. It's very difficult to try to deal with, and you really need some support ever so often, or you just play incredibly at the back of the site. But Diana does have those dashes that can just make everything so easy for her. Gap close and basically dominant. Anyways, now that we've passed the crucial point, we're reaching limits, or we're reaching ultimate points of these players. And is that right? Swirl is already level 7. Cyrus is playing catch up with 6, and he's basically 2 levels ahead of everybody for like at least for a good chunk of a few seconds there, and that's never what you want to happen.
It does seem like we are also going to be looking at the Ocean Drake that is available. It's another Drake that is very important. So Sequence would definitely want to hit their way into close to the Drake, and thus Impunity sets up for the initiation right on top of Sequence, and they manage to get a kill onto Orianna. Just going to be singling themselves out for the next one. Hashtag Ultimatum jumped right onto Leroy. Unfortunately, they did not manage to get any kill right on top of Leroy. With that up, the special Valkyrie coming from Fake AD pushes himself right in front of Impunity, and that is going to be one thing that just going to be pushing both sides away from one another. The special Valkyrie is the thing that just tells everyone, hey guys, stop fighting, and that allows Impunity to easily pick up that Ocean Dragon. One of the most important dragons that you definitely have to pick up for yourself. That Omnivamp is going to go in favor of literally anyone and everyone within Impunity's lineup.
Again, I think at this point we really need to see that scoreboard real quick, because I need to see the items. But just to kind of dissect what happened in that fight, no wards, if I'm not mistaken, for Sequence on that River Brush. And what that just means is Impunity, they got all the information that they need. They could see their opponents over the wall. And another crucial fact, every member of Sequence that was still fighting there, minus Fake AD, who was pretty late to the party, was melee. So they had to go all around the wall while Impunity was throwing out some range attacks, softening everything, and they were just almost about to get taken out. And thankfully, Fake AD was there, but he took such a beating in like 2 seconds that if he wasn't lucky, if this guy wasn't lucky, he would have just been in a world of hurt. Now, I do like how Sequence was able to create some time opening for Fake AD to keep the farm rolling up, and he does have his Serenity Force. That's a step in the right direction, but still, they haven't really utilized these utilities that they have, or these weapons that they have. Not sorry, weapons, but items that they have to get that advantage, because you said it already, they got the Dragon, and cherry on top, you got the Rift Herald as well. So there's just Impunity knowing what they had to do. They're going to initiate a fight here. This is a 3 versus 2. But is Impunity going to just go right back in? And the damage is going to be insane. Fake AD, he has to reposition, as there's just too much for him to handle, too much for him to digest. And as Jim loses the Ragnarok, he can't really get out of harm's way.
And just like that, Team Sequence, they almost had a really good setup onto Impunity, but unfortunately they allowed Raph, as well as I believe it was Aris, just got away just right by their fingertips. And because of that very fact, Impunity did manage to just kind of recover themselves and just regrouped as 4 and allowed Impunity just kind of strike back and Sequence. It's really sad how Diana just went online over that fight and just put down quite a bit of damage onto Sequence. At this point in time, with Sequence not getting a single kill, it is very grim on their end. It does seem like the special Valkyrie allowed him to get himself away. The Battle Dance helped Rakan get himself away from Vi as well. Otherwise, the Assault and Battery, oh no, he doesn't have the Assault Battery, but the Vault Breaker would also be the one that just gonna be milling this Rakan down.
Is it me, or if you're a Vi player, would you prefer your ultimate being called Vault Breaker or Assault and Battery? Because I feel like Assault and Battery feels like the first kill, and then the Vault Breaker's the ultimate.
I agree, actually. I really agree. In the meantime, we do have Ragnarok just going to be put right on top on this Olaf, but unfortunately, because of Ragnarok, his HP just pretty much becomes a lot less beefier. Take a look at the HP, the casting rain coming from this Kai'Sa. It's not going to be enough for him to do anything. The GA pops right on top of the last member here. They swirled as well as Wild Boar, gets themselves away right after getting themselves 2 kills. You know, 2 for 2. It's a pretty decent trade in favor for Sequence, because this is their first 2 kill into this game, and that has helped them getting themselves back onto, in some sense, in some tempo by getting by also getting the first turret in the top lane.
This is some really great openings for sequence. This, well, for lack of a better term, this sequence that the team is using right now, which is to just allow the Akali to play devil's advocate on the other side of the map, get her fed up, and everything revolving around Cyrez punishing Impunity's aggression in the jungle with his shockwaves really is allowing them for so much. But anyways, if you're gonna go into the river side without pretty much utility there, if you could just like show the Fog of War maybe later, you can't see that there's very little vision for sequence around their own jungle as well. So they're going into these angles, they're going into these corners with basically no vision whatsoever. So they're going in blind, and that's never what you really do because, surprise, surprise, there's the Bush Wookiee, Impunity, we're just waiting.
Yet another turret is not going to be destroyed by the side on Impunity. They have managed to get themselves a massive control all around the board from the bottom lane to the middle lane. So this bottom jungle is pretty much unsafe territory for Sequence, and that pretty much means that they will be losing control of the Drake spawns. But hold on a second, take a look at this. Special Valkyrie coming in from the side of Corki, just going to be launching himself right in the heart of the enemies. Diana immediately gets the CCs out, and of course getting himself a good amount of kill. Down at the bottom side, Swirl, Diana just going to be going one against one, but unfortunately Ares joins right in. Helped Swirl to win in that specific battle, and back right to the middle. It is going to be Camille fighting against Leroy. The Akali almost takes down Ares and almost brought the fight out into a stalemate. It became a 4v3, or rather a 4:3 kind of trade-off. Sequence almost made it a stalemate, but unfortunately the goal lead is a little bit too high from the side of Impunity. They even have the Rift Herald that is just being spawned right in the top lane. So it is going to be, in some sense, a free lane at the top. Sequence have to immediately push priority up top. Thus, it's either going to be the Baron Asher that might be controlled, or perhaps the next incoming Inferno Drake.
I love how the teamfight just was set up by Sequence. Rakan ultimate into the special package of fake AD, and then they just kind of burn in the middle of all of that, but this could be just bad! Oh no, the flash and the Fault Breaker and Sequence, they built everything, but it was broken by Impunity, crumbled down. If you were like the little brother and you were making Legos and you got a big brother that just slaps it in front of you and says, no, those are my Legos. It's basically Impunity doing the same thing, because they broke everything that Sequence was trying to build up in just a matter of seconds.
That puts the name Vault Breaker into a whole new meaning. Vi is just initiating out of this world, and Impunity is not giving Team Sequence any chance to breathe at all. And in fact, Team Sequence probably should have expected that coming. They should have expected it. The Inferno Drake's cooldown, or rather the countdown, was not anywhere there. They have no information where the rest of Impunity is. They probably should have put a little bit more reinforcements up top, and the fight maybe would have went a little bit less towards Impunity's way if they had more manpower.
Not just the manpower, but the lack of knowledge, vision for Impunity, or not Impunity, but the other side, Sequence here. They're going into the jungle pretty much blind and not expecting Impunity to be at the sides there. You already said Quadrakill is a Vainglory veteran. And the thing about Vainglory is there's a lot of emphasis on getting bush control. And you can see Impunity is always ready at the seams to go for those aggressive bushes control. But look at that, Glacial Fissure sets everything up. There's a big fight right here. Fake AD is in a prime position to just go into the backline, and he dives right in, splits up the members here of Impunity, and this might be it. Be what they're looking for, but he dives too deep and leaves everybody, every single teammate that he has, open, exposed, and vulnerable. And when fake AD comes back, he just might have given up his opponents to the wayside, but now because of the maybe, just maybe, he can bring some of it back. But the damage be done, he's the last man standing. He can get the kill onto Wild Boar, but look at where the Diana is, look where the Kaisa is. They're working their magic at the bottom side, and at least you're calling back to base. Be a 2 versus 1, which I think still could be punished, but still damage be done. Sequence base has opened up.
Thanks to the help of Diana. Bottom lane inhibitor turret is down, but unfortunately, I think that previous team fight is a little bit scuffed on the side of Impunity. They underestimated the power of Corki, and Corki just allowed him to get himself like 2 kills into to his own name. Granted, yes, that is still a massive lead. Impunity doesn't really have to be all that worried because we're looking at like tens of thousands of goal leads, so it's just too much things to even take note of. The Captain Rain coming from the side of Kai'Sa is more than enough to bring most of Team Sequence's HP all the way down low. Another part of the Captain Rain puts down a massive amount of damage on Orianna, but unfortunately, Diana is the one that takes that kill and is the one that brought out the ace. With 5 of Team Sequence down, Impunity did not care about the Infernal Drake because they know for as a matter of fact, this is their way of ending the game, bringing the Nexus down, and giving themselves a 2-0 series.
The dynamic changes. When you lose your first inhibitor turret, you're already